And what's up, everybody? We're back. We're not doing a movie review. We're not doing a game review. We're reviewing a show. Ark Survival Evolved is a big part of the arc of Jeffofthemellows and Pringleson YouTube channel. We did a series and a half on it. And we found out recently that there's a show, an Ark Survival show on Paramount Plus. Only got one season out so far, but there is a second season in the works. But we thought we'd give our thoughts on the first season now that we both watched it through. He's got a whole list.
I've got a list of notes.
New phone reveal.
New phone
reveal. But this time we've got a lot of thoughts on it, so let's just jump right into it. Man, this is a show, isn't it?
It is a show.
It is a show.
It's not very. It's realistic in a lot of the ways where it counts, and not realistic in a lot of the ways where it counts. You know what I mean? You understand that,
right?
One of the things. Go ahead.
Well, it's just like you look at it from two perspectives, right? You look at it from how good of a show is it, and you also have to look at it from how well it lines up with events that you can actually get in the game. And, you know, you talk about, like, mods and stuff. We're not really talking about anything modded, right? It's just, like, the base game. What can you expect in the game? And, like, you know, there's as far as the story goes, I mean, it's an alright story. They do a pretty good job at trying to connect you with the character. It's a girl who's a lesbian, and she lost her fiance, or would it be fiance, or is it fiance for if it's the female date with the bride, or is that what, or is it something different? I don't know. Anyway, she dies, and she's like, but she doesn't know where she is now. She's in a completely new world. She's trying to get home, and she's also trying to, like, grieve and all that sort of stuff. And we kind of, like, see her past leading up to when this event happens, at least from what I was able to interpret. And we meet a bunch of different characters, and we learn a little bit about their backgrounds, but not a whole lot. And then, you know, she kind of gets adapted into the group and meets new people, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's still ongoing. There's no true conclusion yet. You know, it's only a season in. They already have a season 2 made, apparently. So, I don't know. What do you think?
So I do have a lot of thoughts written down. First off, when you spawn in, it's very, very similar to how the first episode handles it. You wake up, you look at your arm, then you tame a dodo, and you meet some naked man named Bob.
True. I thought that was very accurate. I mean, they drop. It's implied, and well, actually, it's not implied. They talk about it that everybody drops in the water. That's not necessarily accurate. However, it's close enough.
Most of the spawn points are at the coast.
Yeah, but not like they drop in the ocean itself, and then they have to swim in. They talk about that. She dropped into the ocean. The girl. Guy she meets right at the beginning also dropped in the ocean.
Bob.
The ruler guy, the enemies guy talks about that as well. So there's a few others like that. So, but you know what? And then when they were walking through the trees and the jungle with the dodo, and we got to go into these valleys and pastures and see a bunch of dinosaurs roaming around and just interacting with the world, I had some pretty hopeful expectations by that point. It just looked like you were playing Ark Survival Evolved, but you get to watch it on TV. It looked super cool. And then that's where it turned into an actual story.
The story of this is not very tight. It's a bunch of random people who are survivors who are fighting the bad guy who is a survivor. But, I'll be real. There's really not very much wild dinosaur struggle in this. They really only struggle against tamed dinosaurs. So are they really surviving? What are they surviving from? Each other? Because, right now, we're surviving from our enemies, but we're not like survivors.
Right.
So, like, I don't know if you could really call them survivors.
I mean,
they seem to be doing pretty well, and if they got together and started working together, they'd be doing fantastic. It's more like it is more like the global elites versus the poor.
I mean, the only like wild encounters that I can remember from the show, the pteranodons,
The dodo.
What
was in the swamp?
The Caprosuchus.
Oh, the Capro was in the swamp.
They go after the brood mother.
But that's not really a wild, like, because it's a boss. They had to trigger that.
Right.
So I don't really count that.
Other than that, I mean, that's really it. I mean, they're hinting at some other ones in the second season. So,
and I mean, like, they did have, you know, a bunch of dinosaurs in it. Oh, the Stegos were wild.
Oh, yeah, the Stegosaurus
And
encounter.
they did tame them. Which takes me to my next point. They didn't knock enough shit out, for one. For two, they didn't tame enough dinosaurs to go fight this guy at the very end. They had, like, 2 T-Rexes, one of those weird dust rats, and a para. And that was it, I think. Hello? 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 Yeah, you need to knock more shit out, like I'm gonna do to this cat.
True.
No!
Anyway, I don't know. That would have been cool to see. Like, I don't do they ever, like, what are ones that they, like, I guess she formally knocks out the dodo, maybe? No?
She didn't knock out the dodo. The dodo walks up to her, she feeds it, and she's like, oh my god, you're my friend now.
Inaccurate.
Yeah, right? She should have been smashing it in the head with a club.
And then shoving the berries up its ass so they digest them that way.
No! I think the cat wants to be knocked out.
True.
But yeah, like, they didn't use narcotics at all.
No, they're not
like,
even...
at all.
No, they're not even mentioned or anything.
Like, they walk up to the Stegosauruses and are like, we just need to gain the trust of the baby. And then the parents will follow suit. Which is so dumb.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works at all.
Come on, have you ever seen Lost World Jurassic Park? Come on.
That's probably how it would work if the game was any good.
Probably.
But it's bad. Because the
True.
game is bad.
True. But I mean, we got to see some other cool, like, I mean, out of the tame dinos, I mean, there's some pretty cool ones. I mean, the Para's a big piece of it. We can see
We're big Para
T-Rexes.
fans. No Turtis in this season.
I think the best overall, like, dinosaur or animal encounter, though, in the entire first season comes in the final episode, and it's one of the most badass sections of this entire season. When, like, when they bring out the T-Rexes and they're fighting with the T-Rexes and, like, and then all of a sudden he just fucking counters with the Giga. We finally can see the Giga come out, and it's just like this fucking Titanic matchup and whatnot. That was probably one of, if not my favorite part of this entire series, was like that happening.
It was pretty cool when the Giga came out. And, like, I didn't even think about it until the very end, and then it made sense. And I was like, of course he would have a Giga. It was pretty cool. But like, in general, I have a problem with the ending. We'll get to that. But a couple other, like, general thoughts. The lighting was terrible, just like the game. So they were very on top of it with that. Like, they had, in the, like, initial survival town, they had elevators, which I don't remember being in the game. No. They would have been very useful when we were living in that forest.
True.
To get away from the bear that killed Beefcake.
True.
No Beefcake
Rest
in
in
this
peace.
season. No Turtis, no Beefcake.
No, there was Turtis.
There weren't Turtis.
They didn't tame a Turtis, but there was a Turtis.
Where was the Turtis?
When they went into the swamp.
There was a Turtis in the swamp?
I think there was. Yeah, it looked like there was a Turtis in the
I
swamp.
didn't see a Turtis.
But yeah, no Carnos either. There are Carnos hinted for the second season though, so hopefully you can see those.
Yeah, no Dave. Or whatever the fuck we named
Clint.
that Carno. Clint.
True.
I'm sorry, Clint. I thought your name was Dave.
Big Dade.
Notes app crashed.
True. Lighting was okay. I mean, the animation was okay as well. I did like when the Raptors came out and they used the same color schemes, like the base color schemes that you can use for Raptor skins.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty good. But I mean, otherwise, they didn't really do anything cool with the designs. We didn't get to see any other bosses besides the Broodmother, though I assume there's not a whole hell of a lot of bosses in the game.
Not in the first island, no. There's just the Broodmother, the Gigapithecus, the Dragon, and then the Overseer.
Because no, that's the Megapithecus. We need to hint the Gigapithecus, but... So I'm assuming they're going to spread them all out throughout all the seasons.
It is a Megapithecus, you're right.
The Megapithecus looks like it'll be season 2, and they'll probably do the other one season 3, season 4, if it even goes that far.
And then finally season 5 with Rockwell.
True.
Who's the big bad guy who turns into a giant Cthulhu monster.
And then the Ice Titan.
And Turtis will be the only
when
survivor.
When they collab with us, because
that was their biggest problem, is they didn't tame a Turtis.
Yeah, that could have helped. That could have really helped.
Especially there at the end. No Mufasa either.
No Mufasa, no Turtis. Damn, they just were not prepared at all. I'm saying this is not prepared.
But yeah, the Broodmother is an episode boss, and they went in there and killed that motherfucker with no dinos and just a bow and arrow and a spear.
Which is just completely inaccurate.
We went in there and lost so bad the first time we did that. And we had to come back with 10 T-Rexes. And that was enough for us to take it down pretty quickly. But the first time we went in there, we got wrecked.
It's just I don't know, sometimes they stick true to the game, but other times they don't. They're very inconsistent about it.
They pick the bad things to be consistent about, though. Like the lighting, for instance. The lighting is just bad in the show. But when it comes to, distorted people running around, everybody looks like a normal person instead of having, Popeye forearms and shit. Had, a massive head and a little body. Big feet.
There is also a lot of backstory. I've already mentioned this already. There's a lot of time, not just with the main character, Helena, but, the other girl that we get to know, the main enemy's sidekick, the leader of the good guy tribe, or whatever it is. That was a good scene. That ending part with...
Yeah, his spoilers, his final death at the end of the show, for Thunder Comes Charging, or whatever his name is, Rolling Thunder, something like that. His death is really good. His little send-off is really good. I like it a lot. You could see it coming fairly early on, though. It was pretty obvious that was going to happen, but it was pretty good. It played out pretty well. In general, the ending, in my opinion, was not the greatest at all. There's no way in fucking hell, even with them having a Giga, that they should have lost. They had, first off, at the very end of the show, there's a monkey guy up in the mountains. Where the fuck was he at? Why didn't you go get his help before you decided to tackle this fucker?
Yeah, he just pops out of nowhere. I was like, who the hell is this guy, and why is he not helping in this final fight?
This fight right here was supposed to save the warrior woman or whatever. And they were yeah, this will be the fight. This will be the end, right? And we're going to throw everything we have at it. But clearly they fucking didn't, because they didn't tame anything for it. They took 2 T-Rexes, a rat, and a parasaur with them.
And then...
Bitch! I know you didn't need anything to kill a Broodmother, but what the fuck?
Yeah, but
what happened to the Stegosauruses?
Right. Just didn't happen at all, I guess.
They tamed
the Pteranodons as well.
Pteranodon?
During the Pteranodon encounter, they end up taming some of them to ride.
They tamed one, and it's a baby.
I thought they tamed 2 of them.
No, it's just a baby. The one baby, which came from the egg. That's all they have as far as Pteranodons.
Oh.
But this fucking flying monkey guy has birds that you can ride.
And in the season 2 trailer, there's a whole thing with him getting into a fight with the main enemy.
So clearly he must have some sort of substantial power to him.
And he's also aligned with these guys, so...
Already! And he knew them!
They
could have just gone there and asked for his help, and he would have been like, yep, I'm in. It's like, for the sneak peek for season 2, he's already fighting with them.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. They didn't bring enough dinos. They didn't bring enough people because they're stupid, I guess, for some stupid reason. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, they knew that they weren't going to kill the warrior woman because they needed her for some reason. I can't remember why. There's something about relics or whatever, but, like, it was just so
that's another thing. They're the beginning of the show, there's, like, this premise, like, she's trying to collect, the main girl, Helena's trying to collect all of these relics so that she maybe can go home. But they just do away with that.
Yeah, they don't talk about it very much after the Broodmother.
That is not really... Well, they do talk... They kind of mention it here and there, but, like, they set it up as this, like, huge thing.
The MacGuffin. It's the MacGuffin.
This main goal... It's
Throw
not.
Throw it out the window.
Not a main goal at all. It doesn't...
Completely ignore it.
I also just thought they would do more, like, natural wild... Like I said already, natural wild encounters. It wasn't. There's just unnecessary filler through most of these with just...
Most of the show was filler.
Character dialogue. I mean, there's a million... Especially in, like, the second half of the season. There's just all these scenes with the main enemy's sidekick. With all of this, like, lore shit and, like, back shit and, like...
This is not the time to be lore dumping at all.
We don't...
Like, that's like season 2, season 3 shit. You need to spread that shit out, dog.
Like, but, like, from one of the more obscure characters in the show, too. Like,
he's important in the games. Like I said, he is like a giant Cthulhu tentacle boss in one of them, apparition or whatever. And so, you know, I'm not surprised that he plays a big part in the show, but, like, he can't just be lore dumping like that. Like, nobody's gonna remember any of that. It's not important. It doesn't mean anything at the time.
Like that was that part of the show when they were just going through, like, several scenes of just
back to back.
Just talking and talking. I just started to tune out because it's like
what? Why do I even care? Like, none of this means anything right now.
Each episode's about 45 minutes long ish, maybe a little shorter.
And it is 90% filler.
Yes, it feels a lot longer. The pacing is awful. It's not. Yeah, it's just not.
It's not great.
Strong at all.
You'd have a better time watching our Ark series.
True.
LikunMiffery.
Because there's not so much lore filling. We tame shit and we fight shit.
The farthest we get to lore is with Beefcake and Grandpappy.
True.
It's about as far as we go.
True.
You can come into any episode and not have any idea what the fuck's happening.
True.
But it's better than the show. The official show. Made by the official people. Which, by the way... Ark Survival Evolved, and they're not randomly defecating every 2 minutes. Or as Tyler would say, defecting in the area. Tyler would eat defects.
True.
The U-Tyrannus had the correct ability, and like the first
Buck Cluck
lady
was
or
cool.
Whatever. Buck Cluck, yeah.
I like the Buck Cluck part.
He has the roar that scares away everything. It worked really well.
That was really cool. They also had those, what are they? The pig things that helps, like, boost strength or whatever.
The warthog things?
Yeah.
Did they have those?
Those were in a fight as well. That was pretty cool. That was accurate.
I don't remember them at all.
I like that.
The dumbasses went straight into a swamp to escape.
I hated the swamp scene. The swamp scene, like, because once they, like, we can cut through the swamp, I'm like...
These dumb fucks. I literally said that out loud. I was like, these dumb fucks. What are they doing? It's like, you told me never to go through the swamp. You have no other choice. Bitch, there's always another choice. And I knew where they were, too, because it's exactly where the fuck me and Tyler went through the swamp to get to where Beefcake and them were when we made our new base in that area. It's that swamp, because they were in that forest, the redwood forest or whatever, and went back through the swamp the other way. And I knew immediately. I was like... Because when we went through the swamp, everybody died, and Turtis was stuck there, and we had to go rescue him. And Turtis and DVD were the only survivors.
And yet, somehow... I mean, a lot of people die. But
a lot of people die.
The Parasaur doesn't die.
Yeah, there's only, like, one dinosaur death that really sticks out in my mind, and it's the one T-Rex at the very end.
The T-Rex is dying.
They both die, but, like, only one of them was, like a deal. Like, the other one was just kind of like, they never mentioned it ever again, didn't cut to that T-Rex at the bottom of the cliff.
I mean, even the I guess the dodo is the only one you can really get attached to, because it gets the most screen time. but like they're not really, the dinos themselves are not really established characters.
The problem with the dinos in the attachment is that most of my attachment to the dinos came from our previous tamings of those same dinosaurs. Because, like, we're sitting here referring to the Parasaur as Rico, which is what our Parasaur was called. You know, and, like, Beefcake and Mufasa and, like... I feel like that's the only reason I have any attachment to these dinosaurs, because other than that, there's not much to them. They don't do much of anything.
But honestly, I mean, I don't know if you've got any other notes.
The main bad guy is just a guy. It's just a regular dude with, like, a sword. He's not, like, special or anything.
And then they get this fucking gun.
They get a fucking laser gun, and they go into the last fight without the laser gun.
This gun came out of nowhere. It was just, like, bare bones, like, bows and arrows, regular swords, and axes and shit. And then all of a sudden, this dude whips out this fucking laser gun from, like, 3 millennia ahead of its time. And it's just, like... OP as fuck.
Blowing up shit.
OP as shit.
They're launching like 1 billion flaming arrows at the guy, and he's just taking them out one by one. It's like, this motherfucker. And they didn't even take the gun into the final fight. What's the fucking point? Why even have the gun? And in the second season trailer, they teased like a bow version of that, which I remember from the games, the tech bow.
There's other tech stuff that I think they're going to introduce as well. I can't remember.
What the fuck is even the point?
Yeah, I can't wait for the bow to like be this like overpowered piece of shit. And then never get used outside of one fight.
Right at the very end, when they're saving Warrior Woman, something that has no, like, rhyme or reason to exist. There's no, like, lead up to it. There's no connection there. It just kind of happens out of completely fucking nowhere. Almost for just the sake of happening, but it doesn't even make sense coming from that standpoint, because there's literally nothing that leads you to believe that this is the case. And it's like, first off, okay, hold on. So, at the very end of the movie, what happens, Tyler? Or the show, what happens, Tyler? What am I talking about?
They kiss. The warrior girl and Helena kiss.
They kiss. Completely out of nowhere, right?
So, we already mentioned the fact that Helena's a lesbian, right? And there's a
Right.
bunch of backstory about that. I had a feeling that they were going to find a way to work this in, even though, like, I originally, when I first started watching the show, and they started to talk about her backstory in, like, the first episode, I was like, okay, she's probably going to find a way home, she's going to marry her girlfriend, everything's going to be fine, right? That's what I thought. Then we find out the girlfriend died before she even got into this whole mess to begin with.
Which, I don't know the validity of that, because I still have a feeling, like, if they continue, there's a possibility where she gets to, like, the final boss or whatever, and it's her girlfriend or something like that, you know what I mean?
That could be true.
Because we don't see her dead, we don't see a funeral,
they
just come to the door and tell her that she's missing, you know?
That could happen.
But, like, besides the fact that I think it's been, like, 1 week's time between her finding out that her girlfriend is dead and kissing this warrior woman she has zero connection to.
No, it's very forced.
It like comes out of nowhere, and it's been like a week. It's been like a week.
It's very, very forced.
Like, the most they have done before this is argue and train a little bit.
Like, I thought it was going to be more of like just like a worker friendship connection.
And it's like, I don't care that they're both lesbian, but, like, there's no connection here.
No, there's
these people don't even know each other.
They make them romantic partners just for the sake of being them romantic, for the sake of a love story
that
in the show.
That doesn't need to exist in a show about dinosaurs.
And if you're gonna go multiple seasons, maybe you could spread it into a different season.
But it's a show about dinosaurs.
Right.
Who gives a fuck?
But that's the whole point. It's like there's so much. That's the point, right? There's so much character development and filler for a game that doesn't have that shit in it at all. So
I just want to see dinosaurs. That's all I want to see.
So it just doesn't feel natural. especially if you've played the game. If you haven't played the game, chances are you probably have no clue what we're talking about because you haven't seen the show, because you don't give a shit about the show. People who've only played the game are going to be the ones that are going to be your main demographic here. Show us the dinos. Show us the taming. Show us the fights. Show us, like, that's the nature.
I need to see the shit that matters. Y'all need to be knocking out dinos with narcotics and sitting there protecting them as you tame them, and Mufasa's jumping out of the fucking trees to kill you while you tame like a fucking monkey. You know what I mean?
Right.
But where's that at? I don't give a fuck about these people's backstories. Like, and half of them aren't even, like, good. Like, they try to make you connect with the main villain. They don't give you anything to, like, there's nothing. Like, it's teased to happen in season 2 to understand why he's the way he is. But right now, it's just completely baseless. He's just a villain for the sake of being a bad guy. And even then, he's not really even much of a bad guy. Like, yeah, I guess he does have, like, slaves and shit. But, like, again, he's just a guy. It's not like he's, like, a super powerful guy or anything. They had a fucking laser gun that they just found in the middle of the woods. How hard can it be?
Right, it's not... I don't know. It all just kind of feels senseless, in a way.
There's just no point to anything that happens in this show. And, like, the only good character and the only good, like, story is Thunder Comes Charging, or whatever his name is. Like, he has good backstory. His daughter and his relationship is good. It's not forced. It makes sense. His death is good. It's not forced. It makes sense. It's like, it's very satisfying, him meeting up his kids or whatever in heaven or whatever.
It's a good closing to it all. It's a good closing.
It's a good character. That's like the one character in the show that's pretty good. The main character isn't bad right up until the end where they just like shoehorn a relationship out of fucking nowhere. Like, yeah. Any other world, if that happened in real life and I had 1,000 explosives in my hand and you asked me to throw them down a hole to you, do you think that would be good?
No.
But like in real life, if you had just saved a prisoner of war that you barely knew and looked down at her and like you guys kissed, that'd be fucking weird, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. It just doesn't feel natural. Doesn't feel.
There was no lead up to it at all.
No, there wasn't. But like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting where they take this, because it definitely seems like
to the grave. Hopefully.
Because how it works, how they should have done is like, they're already hinting in season 2 that there's going to be a lot more Helena backstory, and I guarantee you there's going to be backstory for new introduced characters as well as already existing characters. We're going to get more backstory.
We get the 2 villains in season 1, right? Rockwell and the main guy. Their backstory is in season 2. You don't get either of their backstories in season 1.
But that's the problem. We don't want more backstory in season 2.
But at least give the fucking villain a backstory.
Right.
Like, you're giving it to random people.
If you're going to have backstory, at least put it all in season 1, unless it's a new character that you're introducing in a future season, and just keep it minimal. Every episode, we got hints to Helena's backstory. How fucking menace is this? She was a professor. She was a lesbian. That's all we need to know. Why do we have several different scenes? Like, and if you're going to throw the fact that she's just missing, gone, possibly dead, maybe not, it's like, what the fuck? And you're probably not going to talk about this girlfriend at all again until maybe the final season.
Because why would you at this point, right? You had to shoehorn a new relationship. So the fucking sadness with her girlfriend dying at the very beginning of the show, irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Completely lost on her.
They're not going to talk about it. She went straight from, like, her girlfriend dying and be like, oh, I'm sad, to fighting a warrior woman and being like, oh, this lady's pretty cool. I'll be friends with her. And then, like, 2 episodes later, I'm in love now. Completely out of nowhere. Like, it completely undercuts itself every chance it gets. Oh, you have a laser gun? It's gone now. Don't know what happened to it, but it's gone. Stegosauruses? Gone. I don't know where they went. Back to the wild, I guess. I don't know. Gone. Another thing that I noticed that was good, though, is they whistle and the dinosaurs respond.
That is cool.
That's cool, because that's how that works. But again, what a fucking shitfest of a show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to really say about it. That
2 out of 10. It's not that bad. 4 out of 10.
I'll give it a 5.
It's 4 for me. Like,
I'm definitely gonna watch season 2 when it comes out,
Oh,
whenever that may
absolutely.
be happening.
We'll be back.
Because, like I said, they're gonna be going underwater. There's gonna be the Megapithecus.
And they're gonna do it all
new
in 6
characters.
episodes again.
Probably gonna be 6 episodes again. But, like, I just don't see this going past the season 2. I really don't.
There's not a story to it. Like,
Well, there is a story. It's just not a good story.
The 2 story points, right? Girlfriend's dead, missing, presumed dead, and there's relics to get home. They drop them both in season 1.
Right, they're both gone.
So what are we even fighting for? To free the slaves? You could have finished that in season 1. If you guys thought about what you were doing instead of just running in there with 2 T-Rexes, a Parasaur, and a rat.
And they had dynamite.
They had dynamite
the Giga
the
got,
entire time.
The Giga
He
got,
waited to be dead to blow up the Giga.
His dying move is to shoot a flaming arrow at a bucket of gasoline and blow up the Giga along with himself. How the fuck could you have not... That is a terrible...
Why did you lead with that?
Yeah, why did you
Why was that bomb stuff even in there? Who put that there?
And why didn't you just, like, you had a bird. Why didn't you have a flaming arrow on the bird, throw the flaming arrow down, detonate the whole place? Guy is dead, Giga is dead, everybody's dead.
You literally had everything you needed to take this guy out in one fell swoop. His whole base was full of explosives. You had a laser gun and a monkey guy who had access to a flying mount. All you needed to do was fly up there on the flying mount with the laser gun, shoot one of the barrels, and it would be over. That's it. That's all you needed. So dumb.
So bad.
I just can't believe it.
Oh my lord.
But I think overall, like, Thunder comes charging and his daughter are, like, the best 2 characters in the show.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Like, they have a good relationship and it's well explained, and the backstory is so small that it doesn't really matter. Like, it's small enough where I can understand why they're where they're at, and it doesn't, like, overstay its welcome like Warrior Woman, who gets, like, a backstory every episode.
True. I mean, it's okay. But also, like, if you haven't played Ark before and don't intend...
This show would mean absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. The characters aren't really that well to attach to. You're not going to understand any of the small references or, like, scenery. So what the fuck's the point? You're going to be lost half the time and you're just going to lose interest.
Completely fucking lost, because so much of this shit doesn't make any sense without prior knowledge.
I'm lost part of the time, and I played Ark.
Oh, bad games make bad shows.
By the way, another inaccuracy. You weren't tethered to a partner and be forced to drag around the entire map.
That's because we played on a local server instead of a good server.
True. They're on the good server. That's why.
Every time we joined the good server.
How about sequel to The Good Place, The Good Server?
It's Ark Survival Evolved. Oh, God, what a fucking shit fest. I really wish there was more Ark in the show, though. Like,
yeah, I hope they dive
spent
more into
so
that.
much time in the backstories of people I don't give a fuck about.
And these random bases that just were really uninteresting for the most part.
They didn't build anything in this show either.
No,
it's
they
already
didn't.
pre-built. All the dinosaurs are pre-tamed. All the bases are pre-built. That's like the whole point of the game. Build bases, tame dinos, and they do neither. Ugh. 4 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 5. It's my final score. I can't bring myself to give it any higher than that.
Can't wait for season 2.
It's gonna be good. Hopefully. Probably
not.
But you damn well know we're gonna watch it.
Absolutely, baby. Content farm.
So you have anything else to say?
No.
Okay, well that's gonna do it then. That's our
Ark Survival Evolved show review.
show review. If you want to see more show reviews, let me know.
We'll do Breaking Bad if you ask.
And Sopranos and Better Call Saul in the comment section down below.
Regular show.
So until next time, we'll see you guys later.